Hello economics students. So in this video we're going to talk about how the RBA actually changes the cash rate target, which is actually the easy part now that you've done all this work. But just a couple of things to remember: the policy interest rate corridor, the actual cash rate could be anywhere within this corridor. If demand for ES balances increases, well, the cash rate will increase, and that means that the actual cash rate will be different, or in this case above, the cash rate target. So the cash rate target stays the same, but the actual cash rate is where the demand and supply curve intersect, depending on the demand for ES balances on that particular day. So just to summarize, because I know there's a lot in that demand and supply diagram, it's perfectly inelastic, the supply curve, because the RBA controls the supply of this form of money, this money we call ES balances. It's just the cash in the overnight money market in all the ES accounts. The RBA controls that, so it's perfectly inelastic. Quantity supplied does not respond to the cash rate. The deposit rate's the floor. Remember, no transactions will take place below the floor. The lending rate is the ceiling, because no transactions will take place above the ceiling for reasons I described in the past video. The equilibrium price, or the actual market cash rate, is the rate that banks actually charge each other. And you can go on the RBA's website and you can look up the actual cash rate data. They record it every day. And sometimes it's above the target cash rate. Sometimes it's below the target cash rate, just like I showed you on the demand and supply diagram. Now, the cash rate target's important because it's the one that the RBA quote. It's just simpler this way to have one rate. It's the one that will be on all their diagrams. All the media will quote the cash rate target, even though the actual cash rate might be higher or lower. So the actual cash rate is where demand and supply intersect, and it may be different. So how does the RBA actually change their cash rate target? So if they wanted to increase the cash rate target from 3.85% to 4.1%, remember, they would do this because they'd want banks to then pass this increased cost onto their customers in the form of a higher interest rate on car loans, home loans, credit cards, or a higher savings rate if you put money in the bank. Now, this is the simple part. They simply move the interest rate corridor up or down, depending on whether they want the interest rate to go up or down. So in this example, that is going to move the policy interest rate corridor up. So what that means is they move the lending rate up by 25 basis points, and they move the deposit rate up by 25 basis points. So let's have a look on the demand and supply diagram. So you can see here that the deposit rate has increased and the lending rate has increased, and all of a sudden we have a new target cash rate here, which is the same as the actual cash rate, and we know that because it's also where the demand supply diagram intersect, just to keep it simple. And I probably should say you don't have to worry about the actual versus the target cash rate, but it just kind of makes sense when we talk about the policy interest rate corridor. You can see now that the original cash rate has automatically changed, and we have a new cash rate within the new corridor. Now, a couple of things to think about. The demand curve has automatically shifted into the new corridor, and this makes sense, right? Because we said that no transactions would ever take place below the deposit rate, because if you had money at the bank, at the RBA, you now receive 4%. So why would you lend money out below 4%? You wouldn't. So straight away, the cash rate moves up. And you can also see that the new lending rate means that no transactions will take place above that rate. Okay, so if the RBA wanted to decrease the cash rate target, they would do exactly the same thing, but the deposit rate would move this way and the lending rate would move this way, and the opposite would occur. All right, hopefully that's helped you to understand how the RBA actually changes interest rates, and we'll look at unconventional monetary policy in the next video. Bye for now.